These are the Blazar Anamorphic lenses. It's a 3-lens set. It's an anamorphic full frame lens with 1.5D squeeze. And this lens has very, very quickly become incredibly impressive, and I'll just say that I'm thrilled to own them. So let's start with this. There are a ton of budget anamorphics that are just all hitting the market all at once, and they all pretty much have the same exact look. And these Blazars are the polar opposite. These do not have the look of any of the lenses that are on the market right now that are in the budget kind of price range. But I'm gonna say that this video isn't a full technical spec breakdown of all like the nitty-gritty details of everything. If you're looking for that, I'm gonna send you over to my friend Cam Mackey, who's got a full technical breakdown and lens test of these lenses, and it's very helpful on his channel. I wanna talk about, for me, more the usage. I've been using this outside, I've been using this inside on some studio stuff, and I wanna talk to you about my thoughts of them, other than the fact that I freaking love them. And if that's all you needed to hear, then go ahead, click out, buy them. I'll put the link down below. So when I first put these lenses on my camera, I put them on my FX3, and immediately I was reminded of a project last year that I shot on Arri Alexa Mini with Atlas Mercury lenses, which, if you don't know, that's like an $80,000 setup and definitely something that's not realistic to shoot on every day. I was extremely excited when I realized that I could put this on my FX3, which are both very similar because they're both full frame, and both these and the Atlas Mercuries have very similar characteristics. Now, I will say it's still like a $5,000 setup that still is a lot more expensive, but it's also a lot more achievable to this indie filmmaking world. So I was extremely excited, and I want to talk about the character of these lenses. I want to show you the projects that I've been working on them and just really show you what they can do rather than just talk about all the specs and all of that. So what do I mean by character? Let's just jump into that. We're looking at the bokeh, like the background blur, the edges, how sharp they are or how soft they are, the barrel distortion, and all of these things. And that's a look that I love. And not every project calls for kind of a dirty lens like this, but when they do, I really love to opt for them. And I think the one thing that I was really excited about is this barrel distortion. These lenses have a really interesting character and interesting look, to the point where almost the edges are squeezed in. And you can see as you're panning across, they've just got this really weird crunched look onto the edges. I would say it's definitely most pronounced on the 45 because that's the widest. I think that's natural for when you have a wide anamorphic to get a lot of barrel distortion, but all of them do have a fair share of barrel distortion and that interesting look you're gonna get to it. But there's a lot more reasons to love these lenses than just the distortion. Obviously, I'll say that the bokeh is beautiful. Let's talk about the size, the form factor of them alone. These are tiny. This is a very small lens. And on top of that, they're extremely fast. They go all the way down to a T2, which gives you such an insane shallow depth of field, especially on a full frame lens. So I will say at T2, they're definitely soft, but once you drop it to T2.4 or T2.8, they really sharpen up to a nice comfortable amount. These lenses aren't supposed to be sharp. A lot of anamorphic lenses aren't supposed to be sharp, and that's okay. It's all stylistic. You know me, I love my soft frames. I love putting diffusion, I love haze. And I will say on the 100, the long one, it does only go down to 2.8, and it's on the softer side once you're down there. But I think with this much compression on such a telephoto lens, it's okay to stop down to T4, and then it definitely sharpens up to a good amount. It's not gonna be as ghostly. But the other selling factor is that like I said, they're tiny. It's a great run and gun setup. It was an extremely lightweight setup. I think we ended up hiking like 3 or 4 miles that day. I could be totally off, but we were hiking a lot, and just having this with the FX3, I had an FX3 and a monitor. It was really just this with a top panel and monitor on top. And it was great to just be hiking through the mountains, shooting stuff as we are, traversing through the woods. And it's a very compact setup. You don't need to have a huge rig, especially for full frame anamorphics that are this fast. It's not common for them to be this small and compact. But let's talk about the set, because I don't think we got into the lens options that there are. So right now, as of time of recording, there's a 45, a 65, and a 100 mil. I would hope that they would have like maybe a 30 and a 150 or something like that, so there's a little bit more variety to it. But I'd assume that this is kind of their first trial to see how they would perform, and if you ask me, I'm obsessed with them, and I'm imagining that they're going to perform fantastically. But let's pause on the lens hype for just a second so we can talk about today's sponsor for the day, which is Motion Array. And yes, that rhymed, and yes, I meant to. If you don't yet know what Motion Array is, well, let me tell you. It's a marketplace that has tons of video assets, drag and drop templates, stock footage, music, sound effects, photos, and more. And it's very quick and easy to use. They've got a great filter system so you can scroll through their website and platform fast and find exactly what you need for your projects, and it's membership based, which means you sign up once and you get everything. For a month or a year or whatever, you get access to everything on their platform. You can get whatever you want, and you can also use it wherever you want. And all of these assets are compatible with Premiere, Final Cut, DaVinci, whatever software you use for your projects. And if you're a little curious about Motion Array, they do have a free option where you can still sign up and get access to hundreds of assets as well for free. And then with every plan as well, they've got 40 plus plugins that improve your editing even more, that are all compatible with Premiere, Final Cut, Resolve, whatever program you use, they've got it. So Motion Array really is one of the quickest and easiest ways to take your editing to the next level. I'm gonna leave a lovely link down below for you to check them out, but I wanna thank Motion Array for sponsoring this video. And another thing that really excites me is the flaring. So this is the amber flare version. I don't love blue flares, especially lately when it seems like every anamorphic lens company is throwing a blue flare into it. Just looks tacky at this point. So for me, I went with the amber flare option, but they just don't have that signature like cheap budget anamorphic look where it's just like a fishing line blue streak across the frame. It really does have a lot of character, especially when you're shining into the sun. And the other benefit of the form factor is that you actually just have a filter thread on the front. So instead of doing a whole matte box setup, if you're portable, you can just screw on a filter right to the front of it and there you go. So you can screw an ND or mist or whatever you need to do on top of it. And that's something that I've been considering shooting these for a doc that's coming up, and a lot of it is outdoors based. So that's been a huge deciding factor is, can I shoot this in a very small broken down setup? And with these, you definitely can. Now, are these lenses for everybody? I would say definitely not. It really just comes down to your needs and your style. For me, I love shooting that, I hate to say that cinematic or that film look, but that cinematic aspect ratio that you get out of anamorphic, I love that. And I also love character to my images. I really love dirtying it up, throwing mist in there, making it, look gritty and dirty and having that film look. And that's something that you're gonna get out of these characteristic lenses. I'd say if you're a cleaner, sharper style, you might opt for like a spherical lens or something like that that's got a lot more sharpness and quality to it and clinical look to it. But for me, I don't need that. Or say another circumstance where you would probably not need it is if you're doing projects with a lot of vertical social media cuts. With anamorphics, you just have this really narrow frame of view, so you're not going to be able to get a lot of those vertical cuts that you could get out of your spherical lens footage. So that's something to keep in mind when you're choosing to shoot anamorphic or spherical on a project, or you're thinking of purchasing these lenses.
Oh, let's go.
But I could be biased because I've been using these lenses a lot, but I really do think that it's a no-brainer to at least even just have one lens of this set in your arsenal, because I think you could get it for like $800 or $900 a lens, which for a cinema lens that's going to deliver this quality is very, very cheap. I know it's still a little bit of an investment, but I really do think that it adds just a whole different Hollywood look and feel to your projects and can really step up the look of the budget very, very fast. So if you're looking for that kind of Hollywood filmic look, this definitely could be an easy avenue to at least get you a step closer. I don't want to say that it's going to do everything. I know that a lot of people say like, this lens will change your filmmaking. Yes and no, because I think there's a lot of other aspects, as we know, in filmmaking that go into it, but I will say that it also delivers an extremely cool look extremely quick and easily. But I've been using them pretty diligently in the last month, and I'm impressed. I think that it's a set that you could get and rent out to friends if you live in a filmmaking space. You could get them and use them all the time. I'd say it's a great investment to be making, and I don't know what else to say other than that. I did get the PL option because a lot of my friends shoot with PL glass, so I'd maybe suggest to just get PL glass and then rent it out so you can maybe make some money back as well. So I'll wrap with just saying that these lenses are sick. Honestly, they look cool, they feel cool, the build quality is solid for them. I'm really impressed with what Blazar is doing, and I'm excited to see what they continue to keep doing, because this is rad. That's all I'm gonna say. So, anamorphics, I don't know what to tell you. They're cool, they're fun. I love you, and cheers to these bad guys, bad boys, bad Larrys. I don't know. Bye.